Why is the government shut down? Everyone can't be telling the truth. Someone has to be telling the truth and someone has to be lying, okay? Or let's not call it lying. Someone has to be omitting facts from their explanation of why the government is shut down. So what we're going to do is we're going to let Senator Kennedy read to you a list that he read before Congress of why the Democrats are refusing to vote in favor of the funding bill, which is why your government is shut down.
Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez got very, very upset, as did the socialist wing of her party, when the president sent over what's called a rescission package. Basically, President Trump just said, we want you to take some stuff out of the budget that we think is wasteful. And we did. And that upset the Congresswoman. She's entitled to be upset if she wants to. But that really upset the socialist wing of the party. And so we took out, and here's what they want us to put back in. We found that under President Biden, they were spending $3 million for circumcisions and vasectomies in Zambia. We took that out. The Congresswoman says, we're going to shut down government until you put that back in. We found $500,000 of American taxpayer money for electric buses in Rwanda. We found $3.6 million for pastry cooking classes and dance focus groups for male prostitutes in Haiti. I kid you not. I'm not making this up. It was in the budget under President Biden. We took it out. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez in the socialist wing, the loon wing of the Democratic Party, says we're going to shut down government until you put it back in.
Can't make this shit up, bro.
$6 million for media organizations for the Palestinians. $833,000 for transgender people in Nepal. $300,000 for a pride parade in Lesotho. $882,000 for social media mentorship in Serbia. $4.2 million. We took it out. The Congresswoman and the socialist wing of their party says we got to put that back in for the open government. $4.2 million for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex people in the Western Balkans and Uganda. I could spend the rest of the afternoon here. We took all that out. It upset Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez. It upset the socialist wing of her party. And now that wing of her party and the Congresswoman are threatening all other Democrats and saying, you've got to shut that government down until we get what we want. And part of what they want is to add this kind of stuff back into the bill.
What's wrong with y'all? You niggas are crazy.
Now that you've listened to that video and you listen to Andrea Ocasio-Cortez's list of demands for voting to reopen our government, understand something. Not only are the Democrats refusing to reopen the government because they are placing the interest of illegal immigrants over the best interests of American citizens, but they are so committed to working in opposition with the Republicans that they just voted down a bill that the Republicans introduced that would at least continue the funding for the U.S. military so that our soldiers will continue to get paid during the government shutdown. Now, we understand to make all this work, we need the U.S. military to keep us safe, go out, defend our interests in different countries, and make sure nobody gets over here trying to hurt us or kill us. Why would you vote not to fund the American military, knowing that currently the American military is being used not only to fight immigration? They're in Venezuela right now, just touched down over there to fight the influx of drugs from Maduro's terrorist regime. The American military is in different parts of the world, engaged in different operations for all sorts of American interests that we may or may not be aware of. But why wouldn't you want the men and women to protect us to get paid just because the Republicans refuse to give free health care that Americans don't even enjoy to illegal immigrants? Listen, I live in California. This is the capital of homelessness on the planet, right? This is more homeless people than anywhere else in the world, right? We're not gonna introduce legislation or try to attach earmarks to fight homelessness and end homelessness that the American citizens are suffering from. But we are going to fight the Republicans over whether or not illegal immigrants get free health care. People, do you realize that this is why they got your grandma outside screaming, "No kings," holding up a sign that Trump is Hitler? And do you really think your grandma and your grandfather really did the research to understand exactly why the government is shut down? Hell, maybe you didn't even do the research, but you have me, and I did the research for you. I got tired of hearing people talk about it, so I went and did the research, and that is what's going on. One side of our government wants to fund free health care and other free services for illegal immigrants, along with a list of other crazy stuff, circumcisions in Uganda, electric buses in African countries that don't even got paved roads, all types of stuff. And it all boils down to one thing. These are the little things or funds that they introduce or attach to funding bills so that they can steal. Let's be 100% real here. If the United States government and Democrats are talking about giving money to African countries, 90% of the time, that's because African countries, the leaders of those countries, are willing to give kickbacks to whatever politician forces these different earmarks and different funding, different funds into the government funding bill for whatever fiscal year. But the thing that really I feel all Americans can agree on is that the military needs to get paid. They were okay with the military not getting paid. Donald Trump came and said, no, we're still going to pay the military personnel. They need to get paid. They're doing a very important job for the country. What American is against that? The only way you would be against that is if you hate America or you are in bed or in cahoots with interests that hate America and want to see America fall. Now, would I go as far as saying that about the Democrat Party? Yeah, I would. Because I feel personally, and this is just what I think. Do I have evidence of it? I feel I do, but I still have to say allegedly. Allegedly, these Democrat politicians are very much in bed with South American drug cartels. So if they do manage to shut down the government and stop the funding of the military, which is fighting a war currently or a battle currently against the South American drug cartels, it's like a win-win situation for them. They get to appease their drug trafficking overlords, and they get to make the Republicans look bad because people will blame the president for the government being shut down. The only problem is the Democrats are still using an old playbook. They don't realize that people have a lot of access to information because we have these little computers in our pockets called cell phones. All we have to do is go look up, why is the government shut down? And if you type that into Google and you press and you look up a video, you will see that there is nothing that the Republicans are trying to introduce that is keeping the Democrats from voting for the bill. Everything involves things that Democrats are trying to force into the bill that Republicans refuse to allow them to force into the bill. And none of those things, not a single one of those things, has any direct benefit to America or Americans. If your government introduces a budget, everything in that budget should have should in some way benefit the American people. Now what you're going to say is, Brandon, what about the money that Trump is giving to Argentina? We knew that was coming. That money is coming from private interests, banks, and different private investors. That is not government money that Donald Trump is giving to Argentina. I don't even believe Donald Trump would give that kind of money to Argentina unless it were to be paid back. And these are loans from private interests that will be paid back by the Argentinian government. I'll give you, and I'll ask you a question to challenge that. Why are the Democrats battling Trump over fighting drug lords and drug cartels that are working allegedly under the authority of Maduro, the president of Venezuela, to bring drugs into this country? Why are United States human rights groups attempting to go at Donald Trump because he is destroying a group of people who are a threat to the safety of Americans, who we have experienced hundreds of thousands of drug overdoses in this country. It has reached pandemic or epidemic levels, and it needs to be stopped. And Donald Trump, when he was running for president, said that he would stop that, and that's what he's doing. If a drug dealer dies trying to bring drugs into the United States, I don't care about him, and neither do Democrats. But if that's something that they can use to point the finger at Donald Trump and say, oh, look, the orange man is bad. The orange man is bad. Look what he's doing. That's what they're going to do. You know, I really don't care about it. Trump, keep doing what you're doing. On top of that, why is the Democrat Party threatening to sue the President of the United States for funding the United States military? I don't understand that. I don't understand how people keep listening to these people saying, telling you that they care about you and they care about America, but every time you turn around, these people are voting or suing to be allowed to screw the American people over in the interest of people flooding into this country from third world countries. The Democrats keep saying, oh, we need to use new technology to secure the border and keep the immigrants out. Well, isn't that what Texas did when they put the buoys into the Rio Grande River to prevent illegal immigrants from crossing the river? Well, you know what the Biden administration did? They sued the state of Texas for doing that. They sued the state of Texas for trying to stop illegals from coming into this country by crossing the Rio Grande River. On top of that, the Biden administration suspended all deportations. They refused to let states like Texas deport illegal immigrants back across the border from which they came. Someone is not telling the truth. And at this point, it's obviously the Democrats. That this is why when they get outside and they talk to you and the people who vote for them, they never discuss the issues. They always discuss things in a way that paints someone else as evil or bad, or he's a tyrant, he's Hitler, he's a king, he's an authoritarian. Okay, all that, let's say all that is true, right? Let's say it's true. We know it's not, but let's say it's true. Okay, I got you, Nancy Pelosi, I hear you. I got you, AOC, I hear you. But why are you refusing to vote on the government funding bill? Because you want to give hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars to Uganda to perform circumcisions in an African country where no American person lives or goes to get circumcised. Why are you holding up the government funding because you want to attach millions of dollars of government spending to the bill so that we can pay for electric buses in Senegal or some African country? That doesn't really make sense. Why are you attaching millions to the budget why are you refusing to vote on the budget? Because they won't let you attach millions of dollars to the budget so you could pay for gay pride festivals in Kazakhstan or whatever Middle Eastern Asian country. It doesn't make any sense. That's why they don't discuss these things. They're just using these things as an excuse to hurt the American people, because they know when the American people feel pain, who do they blame? They blame the president. They don't blame congressmen, congresswomen, people in the House and the Senate. They don't blame the governor of their state. They blame the president. So they will cause you pain just to make Donald Trump look bad. And that to me is very demonic and evil. I mean, that's if you're asking me, but you didn't ask me. But I just need some explanation. I need somebody to explain it to me why they're supporting people or a party that's willing to do this type of stuff. But that's all I got for you on that. Just let me know what you think in the comments. It doesn't make sense to me, but maybe you can do some type of mental gymnastics to make it make sense to you. Till the next time, peace.